Tropical Storm Elsa is expected to make landfall near Tampa Bay late tonight with close to hurricane-force winds. Flash flooding and tornadoes are possible, and storm surge could reach as high as 5 feet. ABC's Trevor Ault has the latest from Key West.
This morning, Tropical Storm Elsa drenching the Keys as rain bands hit Florida's mainland. A fierce gust of wind in Sunny Isles blowing this chair off a balcony, sending it several stories below. The person who took the video saying the chair narrowly missed a woman.
This storm's arrival on the heels of the 4th of July means it's hitting with thousands of tourists still in town.
South Florida residents taking precautions overnight, some already feeling the effects.
Just batten down the hatches and get ready for it.
And while officials are urging residents to take necessary precautions,
make sure their boat is secure, make sure their patio furniture is all put away, get the last minute supplies that they need to get.
Near Fort Myers, residents packing sandbags in preparation, with many refusing to evacuate. On Monday, Elsa made landfall in Cuba, battering the rural regions with torrential rain and strong winds, rivers overflowing, flooding fields and nearby towns. Officials there evacuating 180,000 to higher ground after the storm killed 3 people in the Caribbean.
And ABC's Trevor Ault is live in Key West, where the outer bands of the storm are already bringing wind and rain. Trevor, I know you're already 2 cameras down because of the weather there. You're coming to us from a phone, the producer's phone right now. What are you seeing there? Describe it for us.
Well, it's still been kind of an onslaught of wind and rain, Diane. Yeah, we're trying to be careful. I can't venture too far away from my producer Andy's phone here to go live, but you can see already we're seeing the effects of some of the flooding. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and take the phone from Andy here so that we can show you. If you look very down carefully, so this is like a driveway here, which is several inches flooded. There's the drain, and the water level is probably a good 6 inches above it. It means the system is working. This is where the water's supposed to flow to. But earlier today, we saw some of these drains actually bubbling up because the amount of water was just overrunning it. And look how far that water stretches with all the flooding. And this is far from an individual example. This is happening all over Key West. And we saw, as we were on the beaches early this morning, Andy, I'll hand that back to you, waves because of 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts were really aggressively picking up, slamming over the seawall, and that's kind of exacerbating those fears that we're going to be dealing with flooding here on Key West. The rain is a little bit lighter than what we saw a couple hours ago. We know that Elsa did pass about 50 miles west, 45 miles west of the island here, but surely, as you can see, there is plenty of water for these people to be dealing with, and this is going to last through much of the day as well, so it will probably get worse before it gets better, Diane.
Incredible to see the water level already so high at such an early point in this storm. That said, Trevor, Floridians, they're well trained here. They're used to facing tropical storms and hurricanes, so how have they been preparing?
Sure. Well, I mean, they are decidedly, I mean, you know island culture, Diane. They're decidedly mellow about a tropical storm. They're not surprised by it. However, they are taking steps. We saw plenty of people really tightly tying up their boats over the course of the past 24 hours. We saw a few people wandering out, taking in the storm today, almost like it was something for them to experience as well. At the same time, we know that people who live on houseboats, trailers, they have been seeking safer shelter at the urging of officials because of this extensive flooding and the extensive rain and the choppy waters as well. Having said that, we are still seeing a lot of businesses continue to be open. A lot of them have set up sandbags at their entrances just in case of flooding. It's not entirely disrupting their way of life for today, but again, this will probably get worse, and they're just kind of rolling with it as the storm rolls through.
And Trevor, it was a holiday weekend. There are a lot of tourists in that area. How are officials there combating that aspect of it? Because there are going to be a lot of people down there that aren't so experienced with these kinds of storms.
Sure. Definitely. I mean, there were as much as 40,000 people here for the 4th of July weekend, and a lot of them still are staying here through the week because this is about as busy of a time for tourists as you're going to see. What we're seeing is some experienced workers who are used to this on the island are working with those tourists and making sure that they stay, that they have a place to stay inside their hotels. And then there's also just officials continuously reminding them to not go out and venture out. Actually, Andy, you could go ahead and pan. You might be able to see down the way there the winds. winds. You see those people all the way down kind of enduring this weather, but they're still outside in it as well. And so people are just basically being told they need to be careful. You can step out. You're not necessarily in danger if you walk outside, but you want to have a safe place to stay. And hopefully by later this evening, this will have passed, and we can see at the very least the flooding recede, Diane.
All right, Trevor Ault in Key West. Trevor, stay safe. Thank you. Meanwhile, Florida has issued a state of emergency as 22 counties are under tropical storm warning. 12 counties are also under a storm surge warning, and officials are telling people to stay away from the beaches on the state's west coast. Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z has the latest from North Reddington Beach. Ginger, good morning.
Diane, this is vacation week, and you can see the large population of people at the beaches here just west of Tampa, but they only have a couple more hours before things get really ugly. And tonight is when the bulk of the storm is going to pass by into early tomorrow. So let's go ahead and talk about how the storm is going to break down. It passed west of Key West. You can see the images from Surfside where the rescuers were trying to get into those piles of debris. The dust was blowing up. They had gusts up to 50 miles per hour. The good news is most of the action is going to be on the west coast of Florida, so they shouldn't have as many problems. When we arrived, and I've covered a lot of tropical storms and hurricanes, we went straight to this park where they were offering sand for sandbags, and you know that folks in Tampa know that if they get a couple inches of rain plus the storm surge, they can have significant flooding. It does not need to be the epic proportion type of hurricane. So just a note of why this is a big deal. As it moves up the coast, you'll see those conditions deteriorate as far as rainfall, and then the winds, they're gusting probably around 60 or so. But I do think that the push of water in combination with the water falling is going to be our biggest problem. So see the timing there, making its way parallel to Tampa just after midnight tonight, moving into the Big Bend. So Cedar Key could certainly see impacts again tonight through early tomorrow morning, and then it's up along the Florida-Georgia state line by tomorrow afternoon. If this path looks familiar, it's probably because you remember Ada from last year. Very similar tracks with the current forecast of Elsa, and so we could see some similar impacts. But remember, tide has a play in it. There are a lot of things, a lot of different factors. So keep in mind that there will be storm surge on the order of 3 to 5 feet. Tampa Bay is the place that we're most concerned about that. A lot of these beaches can handle 2 to 4 feet pretty easily. Then rainfall on top of it, right? If you get 6 to 10 inches of rain on top of 3 to 5 feet of water, now we're starting to talk about significant flash flooding. So I always say, if you don't go in your car in a storm like this that's relatively fast moving tonight into tomorrow, you'll be safe from Elsa. And the rain, though, doesn't stop at the state line. It goes right into Georgia, South Carolina as this thing tracks north. It will likely start to lose its strength because it's over land. But then as it hits the Atlantic again, right off the coast of New Jersey, it's going to try to spin up to a tropical storm. So what that could mean going into the early part of your next weekend for Martha's Vineyard or Nantucket, certainly the Jersey Shore, Long Island, you could see tropical storm force gusts and the potential for really heavy rain as it comes up against that cold front. So severe storms a possibility there too. But a lot of people were saying, oh, this is kind of a nothing storm. Well, every storm is a big deal, right? A tropical cyclone of any sort is a big deal, but especially with the geography here and, Diane, with sea level rise. And I always like to leave that note because Tampa, for example, anticipates, the climate scientists have been saying for years, that Tampa could see up to 8.5 feet more of sea level rise by the end of this century. That all starts to play a factor, even in relatively small storms like this.
It sure does. Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z. Thanks, Ginger. Stay safe.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.